what what happens to girls at around 10, 11 through say 15, 16, where they just completely lose their minds?
One thing I can tell you, and we've got 3 boys and a girl, one thing I can say with certainty is that we are not raising girls with confidence. And it starts very young, but I'm seeing a preponderance of girls around that age, growing up through teenage years, who haven't been given the tools with which to have confidence in themselves and self-assurance. And I know these are generalization comments, and not every girl, but I'm seeing it. My daughter, her friends, just the parents that I'm mentoring. So I think most teenagers, we have this thing in Boise, Idaho, where it's called an inversion, and it's where fog comes, and we have days of fog, and I always equate that to a teenage brain. So it's like the kid's brain is in this inversion, and then all of a sudden, at a certain age, through experiences, through hormones changing, and a variety of things, that fog starts to lift, and we start to say, oh, okay, now you're starting to grasp what we're teaching and what we're training. But confidence building is important for boys and girls, but I'm seeing it really manifesting in girls. And and boys are different too. Even with 3 boys, I said early on, we are not raising men right. We are not raising boys right now. There's Again, these are generalizations, but little boys are very tactile. They're very, they've got to be moving. They've got to be having, does it break? Can I hang from it? They're very tactile, very energetic. And that's normal. That's what normal boys do. But in school, I saw a lot of the teachers being frustrated and not really knowing how to handle that energy. And it doesn't make them a bad boy. It doesn't make them bad. They just need that outlet. They need that understanding. And girls, early on, they will sit and quietly read, and they're really no problem until then they get a little older. And then, like you said, they go a little bit more off the rails. And we have to allow boys and girls that freedom with which to be what they are, who they are, and how we can kind of steer that. But really, our job is as a facilitator. We're facilitating experiences. Our job is to provide experiences and to provide freedom for them to have choices. So freedom within boundaries. So we create the boundary, but the boundary is very set in stone, very few rules, but very clear boundaries. And then they have a lot of freedom within that boundary, so they can make their own choices, they can make their own decisions, and they have that safety net at 10, 11, 12 to make those mistakes. So we have to kind of lean into those mistakes and not look at this as a bad kid, and not look at this as, they're annoying, they're all, labeling all of this behavior. We don't want to do that. I teach a lot about partnership parenting. We're partners. We're not friends. And, we are parents, we are leaders, we're role models, and we're partners. Partners walk alongside you. They're not in front, bossing you around. They're not in the back. They're right by your side saying, and I teach a lot about that children are adults in training. So when we shift gears and think in terms of adults in training, now we realize, did we take time for training? It's so funny because I'll talk to parents and they'll say, well, my child says or does this, or I say, well, did you sit down and look them in the eye and explain your expectation? We do that in work. We sit and in a work environment and we explain our expectations, but sometimes we think our kids just should know. So it's an interesting perspective. Sometimes you just slow down and be more intentional